Hi, I'm Lindsay.
And I'm Charlie.
And this is the Jug O Sip podcast.
You can find the Jug O Sip podcast on YouTube and Spotify every Monday and Friday.
And don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and follow at Jug O Sip podcast on all social media.
Okay. Jug O Sip podcast episode 5. Tell them what we're doing today, Lindsay.
So we are playing a game. So I've stumbled across this game I've seen floating around on Facebook since the quarantines, lockdowns, and everything with the coronavirus.
Well, wait a minute. Wait. We could. I want to announce it with some flair.
I'm about to. Would you?
Like, this is game day. You're right. Okay, I'll relax.
Step off. We're gonna play it. We're gonna play a game.
I'll be good.
So they're like sending out memes of like they're picking like a theme of like pick your quarantine house of who you would be with.
And this is a game you've seen on Facebook, you say?
Yeah, it's different memes. Like, they did one for witches. They've done one for, like, American Horror Story cast. Different themes.
Yeah.
So I thought it would be fun to do one episode of us playing this game. So what we're going to do is we're going to name a title of a television show. The theme is television shows. From any era. It's just stuff that he and I have both seen and enjoyed. And this is something you can play as a couple. This is a really fun way to pass the time if you just want to kill a little time and don't want to do anything crazy, or you're just a little slightly bored. So I'm going to let Charles go first, and what we're going to do is we're going to name a TV show, and then we're going to pick 3 characters from that TV show, main or side characters, who we would be in our quarantine house, and we're going to explain why. And we're only allowed to pick 3 people.
The name of the game is Quaranteams.
That's right.
All right. Okay. Who you said was first? Me?
Yeah, you have to name the first show. So pick a show for me.
Okay, so I pick a show.
Yep, I wrote down a list just in case you couldn't think of one instantly. Just so we have an idea.
So I'm like your referee almost.
Well, you're allowed to list the first TV show that you want to list. We'll do them.
So I name the show. You name your team.
Yep, and then you go do yours for that same show, and then I'll read the next one.
And then the next round we switch shows.
Yep. We'll just say for example you'll say the show. I'll say blah 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 blah. Here's the reasons why. Then you'll say blah blah blah. Here's the reason why for that show, and then we'll go on to the next show.
That makes sense.
Okay, so read
easy.
Our first show.
Do you guys got that? Real quick. This is how quarantines work. You pick a theme. Let's say your theme is TV shows. You pick a show. One person picks a show. In the first round, everybody who's involved, this could be 2 or more people.
Yeah.
They each take a turn picking characters from that show to quarantine with. Everybody in that circle, including the one who picked the show.
Right.
That's the first round. On the next round, you switch to the next show or video game or anything based on the theme you have.
You have to explain why you would pick the people you would pick for the reasons.
Yeah, and you got to explain the reasons why.
Because that's what makes it fun. It helps you, especially if you're playing with your partner or a friend.
Right.
It sort of helps you get to know that person on a deeper and more intimate level, and you're still having fun.
Great. Okay. So.
What's our first show, Charles?
That being said, round 1. So we have. Let's go with something that'd be hard for me. Chilling Adventures of Sabrina.
Oh, okay.
This is a Netflix series. The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina.
And if you haven't seen it, it's the new and darker version of Sabrina the Teenage Witch, but in my opinion, a million times better. I like both, but I'm biased in this one. So for me, obviously, people who follow me know I'm like gay as hell for Aunt Zelda. Like, everybody fucking knows that.
Right.
Like, fucking people who are dead know this. Like, I went and, like, knocked on graves and was like, hey, Aunt Zelda's hot. So, obviously, Aunt Zelda, because I just want her to look at her fucking face and, also be bitchy and smoke with her. Like, that's what I want to do.
So, you need a smoking partner to complain at the situation with?
Well, you know how funny that would be. We would just be Betty Davising each other the whole time.
Just staring at each other and smoking in silence.
And with an occasional, honestly, just... And that's alone enough to make the quarantine go fast.
Somebody to be indignant with?
Yeah, fuck yeah, man.
Okay, next.
It's a small need, but I need it.
Okay, that's your first. Pick your second.
I would pick Ambrose. Because Ambrose and I feel like he and I would have a lot in common. He just seems like the kind of guy that just wants to be left alone to smoke weed and mind his own business.
Okay.
And kind of listen to... He likes the same kind of music I do. He listens to, 60s and 70s rock, and I would enjoy that. And
yeah.
I think he and I would get along well enough that we could just smoke weed and talk, and he has a lot of life experience. I mean, he worked with Aleister Crowley, who was like a mentor. Like, Aleister Crowley was like his Roberto.
Oh, okay.
Which is Charles's mentor.
Yes, one of my mentors, or at least my longest one.
And my third... See, I'm torn because part of me wants Hilda, And then part of me wants Lilith. But I think...
I like how your third is not Sabrina.
She gets on my nerves. Bless her heart, but she's a dumb girl. She just makes so many...
The whole show is just, Sabrina, don't do this. I'm going to do it.
It's literally, Sabrina, no. And Sabrina goes, Sabrina, yes.
Yeah.
Like, people will give her 1,000,001 reasons why something is a horrible idea, but fuck you, that's why she does it anyway. Don't tell her what to do. That's sort of annoying to me.
Yeah.
I'm going to pick Hilda because Zelda and I are enough of a scoffy drunk bitch in the house. We don't need the additional drama of Lucifer's actual demon-ass wife in this fucking thing. I would rather have Hilda because she's chill but tough. She's a great cook, so that's somebody I can cook and bake with and bond over kitchen witch spells and kitchen witch herbs, and someone I can talk about botany with, and and also Hilda reminds me a lot of my friend Conchetta, who you've met. She literally looks and acts just like Aunt Hilda.
Shout out to Conchetta and that.
Love you,
First
baby.
of all, I just need, can we take a second? I don't like vegan food. She made me like vegan food.
God, she makes them.
That's how amazing she is.
Her food made me horny.
Her food is so good. She made this vegan mac and cheese, and it was so good. It was because it wasn't cheese, right?
No, it was, I forgot, I think it was squash.
Yeah, it was like squash. It tasted
She also
great.
used that same thing to make a nacho cheese.
It tasted amazing.
That was I had vegan nachos for her daughter's birthday and a vegan fucking funfetti cake, and the fucking funfetti cake was better than any fucking cake I've ever had.
That cake was so damn good. I still talk about that cake.
I mean, you still are riding that meal. I couldn't enjoy it. I wasn't feeling well that day. I couldn't even enjoy it that much.
But that cake was good. Matter of fact, let me tell you this. I live on the same block of a Champ's Diner in Brooklyn.
Which is a vegan diner right next to our house is attached to our house.
A famous vegan diner.
And their food is
it's
great.
Not as good. I've had their food. Okay, I'll put it in their respect. I didn't know they were a vegan diner. I went in there and I tasted something and I didn't know what it was. So part of it was my fault not going in there correct. But after that, I went there. I had some of their food. Like I had an omelet they made or something like that, and it was pretty good.
With the fake eggs and stuff. See,
it was pretty good. But the thing is, even they don't hold a candle to Conchetta, because Conchetta's food,
vegan food is hard to get
crazy
to taste
good.
Really good. I mean, I eat both dairy and meat and veggies and stuff. As I get older, eat less and less meat. I'm actually more. I could go probably vegetarian, but I couldn't go vegan because I like dairy too much, and I'm not going to stop eating cheese. And no offense to any vegan food, that fake cheese is I eat, but it ain't melted cheddar on my potatoes. It's just not, and I'm aware of that, and I'm okay with that.
And one of Lindsay's favorite snacks is what we call cheddar tatoes.
If you literally let me take a handful of shredded cheese and melt it on a plate, I will scrape it up with a knife and eat it. I do not fucking care. I don't fucking care. It's cheese.
That being said, who's your third?
I chose Hilda.
You chose Hilda.
Yeah, because Hilda, I would just get along with her better. And there would be less drama. We would just be able, she can take care of herself and she'll kill a bitch if she has to. But the thing is, she won't fuck with you if you don't fuck with her.
Right.
And I feel like even though she and Zelda fight so much that sometimes Zelda kills her, I could tolerate that. I'd be like, oh, you killed her? Oh, you can bring her back? Oh, okay, that's fine. Is she going to be okay? That's all that matters. So your turn, Charles.
Okay, my turn, and we're still on
the chilling adventures of Sabrina.
Yeah, so I stutter sometimes. I apologize for that.
That's okay. It's humaning is hard. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's hard being human. Okay, chill. Now let me preface this. I don't watch this show that much. I saw most of the first season. I think it's
part two.
Part of two, yes. I think it's a good show. I like hearing Lindsay talk about it more than I like watching it. But it's a good show, but I know the characters well enough. So I gotta go. First of all, I gotta have Salem.
I like that.
Because Salem is, Salem's not a cat. He's a gremlin. So
he's a goblin.
He's a goblin?
Yes.
What did I say?
Gremlin.
Okay, so he's a goblin.
A gremlin is what Bella is. A goblin is what Artemis is, you see.
I feel you.
Yes.
Got you. Okay. So, Artemis, oh my God. Salem. I wish it was Artemis. Black cat. Artemis is a black cat too.
That would be a great job for her. We'd get such a good check for that cat playing Salem.
For real. Okay, so Salem is a black cat, is a goblin disguised as a black cat.
Yeah, familiars take the form from goblin to whatever animal it wants to represent to be the familiar.
Here's my thing. I don't know if Corona could make the jump to goblin, but I'm pretty sure it wouldn't.
And he's a smart cat, and he's kind of like Artemis. He'll meow, but you know exactly what the fuck he's saying.
So if I needed to get more gloves, soap, or toilet paper, I'm sending Salem out. And plus, he a goblin. He'll get past that line. All he got to do is go in his true form. He's gonna scare everybody away.
Plus, he'll be grateful that you're not sending him on some fucking trip to literal hell like Sabrina.
Yeah.
These are small tasks. We're sending him out for like bags of weed and food.
Yeah.
And Sabrina's like, we're going to go to hell today? Friends, we're going to go to hell. And they're like, I didn't agree to any of this. That's okay. Get in the car. We're going to hell.
Yeah. Which is that's the whole show. It's just a show about this teenage girl who abuses her friends
and family into agreeing to this insane shit.
With these awful adventures. She got her aunt shot once. Like, it was crazy.
She manipulates her friends into doing stuff for her and forces her aunts to clean up her messes.
For real.
Because they have to. They're her caretakers, and they're like, she's still fucking under 18, and I gotta go dig her out of whatever the fuck she did.
The only other show that
I would have whooped her ass when she was 8.
The only other show that I know of that centers around a demanding little girl that manipulates everybody around her is Peppa Pig.
Nope, that's not true.
What?
Rugrats.
Yeah, but Angelica wasn't the lead. Tommy was.
No, Peppa Pig's that's a whole other thing. That girl's salty as shit.
Yeah.
Well, she's poor, but she. Well, we need to have a whole episode after we watch some Peppa Pig with my toddler nephew, and we need to go and review the fuck out of that salty little bitch.
Stay tuned for a future Peppa Pig episode because at some point because we need to address her.
So you chose Salem. Who were your other two?
Okay, my next two. So Salem's my first one. My next two, I think I'm gonna have to go with Ambrose too as well, just because he seemed
would get along really well.
Yeah, I feel like he the kind of dude I could chill with. Like, he would have great conversations and stories because the dude is centuries old, and when you live during a quarantine, as everybody listening to this knows, that can be boring.
And he literally is so used to this. He was under house arrest for hundreds of years.
Right.
75 years, but still long enough for that to make you want to fucking like lose your mind. And he hates it, but he's used to it, so he would help you find ways to center yourself in that time.
And at the same time, you can only binge watch episodes of Always Sunny so many times. I mean, they don't have enough seasons to outlast a global pandemic.
Well,
I'm sorry.
And Ambrose would want to talk about philosophy, and he only gets upset when Sabrina drags him into big stuff. Like, he's pretty chill otherwise. Like, he would just be like, you want to smoke pot and talk about philosophy and the time I worked with Aleister Crowley?
Yeah, so chilling out with a dude with literal centuries worth of stories and life experiences, that's going to be great. So the last one, I think I'm going to have to go with Madam Satan.
Really? Not? I thought you would pick Father Blackwood. That's who I expected.
Nah, not Father.
You want Madam Satan because you want to watch her lurking out of rooms, don't you? Because that's the funniest fucking shit.
Yeah, I just want to watch her walk around and pretend she's not a supervillain.
Okay, shout out to Michelle Gomez because I love her in this role. But it's so funny that, like, Mary Wardwell, the woman she possessed, was this meek little church mouse of a woman who dressed frumpy, and now she shows up all sexy with this amazing hair.
Yeah,
and it's like
looking like she had an orgy with 10 demons.
Like, hello, Sabrina. Hello, Mr. Kinkle. You're like,
yeah. Can
you crank the porn down?
So like yesterday, your hair was in a bun. Now it's all down and flowing and voluminous.
And you move like a snake now?
Looking like you done used Satan's own version of Pantene Pro V.
I wish we were on camera right now because I do this great thing where I'll sometimes just enter a room and like appear around the doorway like a snake, and I'm like, hello, Mr. Grant. How are you?
Yeah, all breathy.
And like sliding up and down the fucking doorway. Like, it's.
Which is what, like, every time Lindsay watched that show and she came in the scene, it would just get me mad because I was like, how do they not know she's a bad guy?
No,
I mean, the lights get dim when she walks in a room.
Lights flicker, it smells like sulfur, like there's all sorts of
shit.
Like, it's sort of hysterical because when I was in high school, if my teacher started acting even remotely funny, I'd be like, what the fuck is wrong with her?
Yeah.
I would have gone to her and been like, what's your fucking deal?
Yeah.
I mean, I love her. Like I said, that's one of my favorite characters. I almost put her in my house.
For real.
But, I'm going to be honest. I already have Zelda.
Shout out to Michelle Gomez.
For real. I already have Zelda. Right. And I'm already a dramatic bitch. We don't need an additional dramatic bitch in that quarantine house. It would be there would just be nonsense. No,
but for me, I would pick Madam Satan. But first of all, I would not pick... Because Michelle Gomez technically plays two characters in that show. Mary Wardwell and Madam Gomez.
Mary Wardwell is sweet but boring as fuck.
Yeah, I almost called her Madam Gomez. Mary Wardwell and Madam...
That's Michelle Gomez's new nickname in this household.
Mary Wardwell and Madam Satan are two different characters that are occupying the same body up until a certain season where they split up, but Madam Satan enjoys the form of Mary Wardwell.
And that's why she transforms and like shapeshifts into that form.
So they're separated, but she shapeshifts into the form of the body that she used to occupy. So Michelle gets the fortunate
opportunity. As an actress, I'm very jealous because it's a great role, because you get to play both two contrasting, completely different characters. But Madam Satan, the thing is, she's a villain, but she's also kind of goofy and hilarious.
Right.
Not intentionally so, but it's also like a goofy sexy.
Yeah, and here's the thing. Mary Wardwell is this... She's
hyper Christian and annoying about it.
She's like this she's like if you went to a library and if you learned to hate going to the library because you hated the librarian. That's Mary Wardwell.
And see, the thing is, Mary Wardwell wasn't mean. She was Sabrina's favorite teacher. She was sweet, passionate about social studies and geography and the study of, Greendale.
But this chick is two eyeglass frames away from joining the Westboro Baptist Church.
Well, spoiler alerts for people who haven't seen the show, but that's why she shot Zelda.
Right.
Because she was manipulated into thinking Sabrina and her family's magic was hurting her and killed her fiance.
Right.
So without thinking, she went and shot the first bellman she saw, which... Can we talk about Zelda's death for a second? Again, spoiler alert for anybody who hasn't seen the show.
Yeah.
When Zelda got shot, she didn't actually die.
Right.
But she was hanging on the edge there, and there was this whole thing behind it. I felt so personally attacked because she did something that I would definitely do if I had gotten shot. She had been standing there holding her cigarette holder. She gets shot, takes a drag of her cigarette, exhales indignantly, and falls to the floor, and the rest of the smoke leaves her mouth. That was
like if Lindsay got shot.
That literally, I would turn around and be like, "This bitch shot me." Hits ground.
Yeah.
Even if I died, I would want "this bitch shot me" to be my last words because I am that petty.
Right. But yeah, that would be my three. It'd be Salem, Ambrose, and Madam Satan.
I'm glad you chose a woman to be in the house though, because there'd be like a balance.
Well,
in
you
there
need
as
that.
well.
That's the thing. You need that balance. You don't want to be hanging out with a bunch of dudes. One of them's not even human. Like, come on.
And look, not for nothing, but if you're under quarantine long enough, someone's got to fuck. and if no one's, Ambrose is pansexual like me, so it doesn't fuck him. He'd fuck whoever he was attracted to.
Whatever.
It didn't matter.
As long as they had,
as long as they had a good personality and a functional mind or whatever.
Something he could rub on, really.
Yeah, really. And Salem's a cat, or a goblin cat. So,
You're not going to do it with a goblin. I mean, I wouldn't.
I mean, I bet there's a fan fiction, though.
I'm sure there's a fan fiction of goblin sex.
Now, you know what's going to happen? At 2 a.m., I'm going to be up looking research of weird Salem fan fiction now. Because see, if anybody saw my search history, they would think I was out of my fucking mind, but I'm mostly doing research for shit like this, so it's super weird.
I tell you what, for those listening, if you come across Salem goblin fan fiction, please link it to our social media. We are on Spotify, YouTube. There's a Facebook page. You can
find it if you follow me personally. You can send it to me on my Facebook.
In future, we will create an email address and list that you can talk to us through.
Once we figure out how the fuck that works.
Yeah, once we figure out how that works. But if you find anything like that, please send it to us because that's hilarious.
So let's move on to the next show.
Round 2.
Fight. Finish him.
Very Mortal Kombat of us. Okay, what's the next episode?
We're a Mortal Kombat couple.
What's the next TV show?
So our
Lindsay?
next one on the list is another favorite of ours, Futurama.
Yeah,
so you get to answer first.
Yeah, okay. All right.
That's our one of our favorites.
Now, I love Futurama. Real quick, I've been watching Futurama since day one when it literally aired for the first time on Fox. That's when I got on that
And see,
train.
I wasn't because my mom was very strict in 99.
Yeah.
Because I was 10 years old. I didn't start watching it until I was about early college.
I'm a big fan.
When it was on Adult Swim.
I'm a big fan of Matt Groening or Matt Groening.
I don't know if it's Groening or Groening, but I don't want to say it wrong, so we'll just say it's either one. Sorry, Matt.
I'm a big fan of that man's work, and
not enough to learn the last name pronunciation.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of that man's work. And I love me some Simpsons, but with Futurama hit, oh my God.
I definitely like Futurama better than The Simpsons. Ooh. I do. I like both of them.
Love me some Futurama. That being said, who would I quarantine with?
Your 3.
Okay, here's my 3. First of all, I gotta go with Nibbler.
Fucking Nibbler's awesome.
First of all, Nibbler is adorable. He's a genius. He is thousands of years old. He was born 20 minutes after the Big Bang.
And his shit is actual fuel.
Yes.
And if you're like, if you're quarantining in their world, that's ship fuel.
Right. Like if I had to quarantine at Planet Express, but I needed to make runs that required me to leave the planet. Or even then, you
could save up all that dark matter for when you had to go back to work.
Yeah, you know what's crazy? The coronavirus being a global pandemic, if you put it in this world, it would still apply to that situation because it was global.
And if you couldn't travel and do runs during it, because you would probably spread it to other planets.
Right, but if I had, exactly, they would quarantine the Earth in almost the exact same way. But if I had to go off planet, but I needed fuel and I couldn't, use the normal, essential workers or whatnot, if one of them weren't fuel workers, then I had Nibbler to provide fuel, company, great conversations. He himself is his own resource.
And you can also sell his dark matter to people who did have to leave.
There you go. So that you can make some money
to save for later.
So you make some money in the quarantine.
So that's smart.
Okay, so Nibbler's the first one. Next one, I think I'm gonna go with Hermes.
Okay, Hermes is great.
I'm gonna tell you why. Hermes is a bureaucrat. He's an accountant as well. Okay, he has accounting experience. I'm gonna need somebody to help me budget out the money that I'll have to ration throughout the quarantine to survive it and the aftermath. Who would better do that than Hermes? Plus, Hermes likes to limbo, and I can watch him do that, and it'll be cool having another black dude around, and I'm not Jamaican or anything. Hopefully he don't invite La Barbara. Point is, Hermes is the second one.
Only
I don't
Hermes,
like
not La Barbara. I don't like La Barbara.
I don't like La Barbara.
She's a bitch to him.
The thing is, knowing La Barbara,
I like Dwight though. Dwight's a great kid.
Yeah, Hermes' son is great. His son Dwight. But La Barbara, knowing her, if there was a global pandemic, if
she'd leave him and go cheat on him,
she would leave him and then spend quarantine with Barbados Slim. Because that's what she does. And then
she would go back to Hermes after the quarantine because he makes good money.
Because she'll realize Barbados Slim can't count. So,
she just goes between those two men. So, okay.
Yeah, so it would be...
Who's your third?
So, Nibbler.
Hermes.
The last one, definitely Professor Farnsworth.
Really? You didn't pick Amy? Because I know Amy's one of your favorite characters.
Now, I like Amy. I do like Amy. And Amy's on her way to be like the next Farnsworth. If you're a fan of the series,
not as crazy, but definitely
not as crazy.
She's actually going to be probably a more functional scientist.
If you're a fan of the series and you watch the whole thing through like I did, you'll know that toward the end of the series, Amy was pursuing her scientific degree. I forget
like a doctorate of some sort.
But she was basically she was being mentored by Professor Farnsworth.
She was like studying physics and stuff. Like she's really smart. And initially they paint Amy out to be this like ditzy, cute.
Like they paint her out to be this stupid party chick.
But she's not a stupid party chick. In fact, she's an intelligent scientist who also likes to have orgies and do drugs.
Right.
Like
many scientists love to do.
Freud.
Yeah. Sigmund Freud.
But I'm just
Benjamin Franklin.
But I'm just saying, Benjamin Franklin liked a fucking party.
He loved him an orgy. You know how much Benjamin Franklin loved an orgy? He was a part of a secret society where all they did was walk around butt naked
and fuck each other.
Just massive orgies.
And drink wine. That's
honestly,
all
he did.
Gotta say, respect it. So why Farnsworth though? Because he's entertaining?
Well, here's why. Farnsworth literally created a time machine. And not only did he create a time machine, this time machine was such a pivotal part of the Futurama universe that it is the reason why, if you watch Futurama from first episode to last, on the last episode, it's him using that time machine. If you started over from the first, technically that's the same as watching the next timeline of Futurama, which is crazy to me.
That's
like Futurama being what it is, it loops back on itself. Like rewatching it is a part of the storyline.
It's a great ass show.
It's so crazy. But Farnsworth, he can invent anything. If I got bored listening to Nibbler, he has that machine where it creates fictional scenarios, and all you got to do is pull a lever or like press a button, and you say it into the microphone. That's the Tales of Interest episodes, or some of the best episodes. That episode. Like the episode where Leela became a witch, and then Bender was human, and then
Bender being human was great. The overindulgence thing. Right. Oh my god.
When Fry wished he wanted to know what it would be like if the whole world worked like a video game, and he had to save the world from but wasn't from Omicron from Lur. Lur wasn't from Omicron Persei 8 in his fantasy. He was from a planet called Nintendo 64. Yeah. So So Farnsworth then you have stuff like Farnsworth had the invention called the smelloscope, right? Let's say there was a particular virus Oh, we at the halfway mark. Let's say there was a particular virus that had a smell or something. I could use that to do the smell or whatever. But
so those are your 3.
Those are my 3. That's my 3. Anyway,
you're very long-winded. You talk very long.
I do. I'm long-winded.
Okay.
I'm long-winded. Okay, so Lindsay, what's your 3 out of Futurama?
Well, I already know. Leela for sure, because I feel like Leela and I would get along. And the only time I don't like Leela is when she's with Fry, because I don't like the way she treats Fry. Other than that,
yeah, she treats him so badly.
Yeah, other than that, and her poor taste in men, I would like her fine. My other one would be also Hermes.
Okay.
Because he's chill. I could definitely get along with him, and I guarantee you he talks about weed a lot in a few episodes, so...
Hermes smokes a lot of weed.
He would have good weed.
Dealing with a barber, you don't have a choice but to smoke weed every day.
I would, like, be smoking it constantly.
Constantly.
And my last, believe it or not, would be Bender.
Bender? Why Bender?
Because I'm under quarantine, and I want good drinks and drugs.
Oh.
See, here's my logic in all of this. You got Leela, who's kind of tough. You could practice martial arts with her and get exercise through the day and get both of your aggression out. Leela and I both have a lot of anger issues.
Okay.
And pride issues.
All right.
So we could get, exercise from that and talking.
Yeah.
With Hermes, I could smoke weed and have chill conversations and have downtime. And when I felt like I was bored and wanted to do something fun, I can go dance and drink with Bender.
Okay.
It gives me options of shit to do.
That's fair. All right. Okay, so your 3 were who?
Also, I think Bender's funny.
Bender is funny. He is. Okay, so your 3 were who again?
Leela, Hermes, and Bender.
Okay, and mine were Nibbler, Hermes, and Professor Farnsworth. Okay, so...
Also, you and Farnsworth are both old men, so...
Pretty much, yes. I'm a 28-year-old
old man.
Senior citizen.
Yes, basically.
Okay, so round 3.
What's the next show?
The Simpsons.
Oh, another Matt Groening or Groening show. So
groaning on
you
graining.
want me to pick first? Because the thing about The Simpsons is there's a ton of characters.
So
I'm going to try to keep
many.
this brief because we should probably try to keep these a little briefer so we can try to squeeze more in.
Okay, sure. Okay, we'll pick your 3 for The Simpsons. Then.
So I'm going to stick with...
Well, you know what is interesting? Tell us where you're going to quarantine at.
I don't know. I wouldn't be able to pick a random Simpsons location. Just a house.
Just a house somewhere. Okay.
I'm going to pick Lisa.
Okay.
Because even though kind of like Lisa's up her own ass... because she's a kid, I would like try to guide her into being a chiller person and not worry about being the golden child all the time. But she's also intelligent, and I like smart people. Okay, fair. And that would be easy to get along with. Let's see.
Who else you thinking? Who else you got?
Marge.
Marge?
I really like Marge. I think Marge is a sweet and kind person, and when she's not around Homer and stressed out, she's awesome.
Okay. She could also cook really, really well.
Yeah, and
I mean, for Homer Simpson, you gotta be able to.
And I wouldn't have to worry about doing all of that work. Mm-hmm. And God, what's his name? I can't even think of his name. The stoner bus driver.
Oh, Otto.
Otto. I wanted to say Otis. Otto. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he would just leave me the fuck alone. Like he would just be like.
He would just leave and come back with weed.
Yeah, and you'd be like, where the fuck?
Also, he has a bus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He can go out and do the runs.
That's a good choice.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So my quarantine for The Simpsons. First of all, I'm a quarantine at Moe's Tavern. I just feel like we should add that to the game. You should tell a location where, because that does define your situation a little bit.
Okay.
But first of all, I'm gonna be at Moe's Tavern. My team is gonna be Mo Sislak.
Nice.
Yeah, because he runs the tavern. I don't drink. Like I do not drink alcohol whatsoever.
But he's kind of a cool person.
Yeah, he's a cool person when he's not flipping out and losing his mind. You know,
even then, that's funny.
Yeah, even then, he could be a good guy to hang out with. Then. Okay, so that's first. Second, I'm picking Waylon Smithers. Not Mr. Burns, but Waylon Smithers. I'm going to tell you why. Waylon Smithers has access to all of Mr. Burns' wealth.
Smithers is stupid, though. Fuck Smithers. He's such a yes man. I hate people like that.
Well, in a quarantine, yeah, you don't need yes man. You're right. Maybe that was a bad choice. Okay, let me pick a different two. All right. So I got Mo Sislak.
Yeah, Mo's fine. He's great.
I think, you know what? Groundskeeper Willie.
Oh, yeah, that's a bad motherfucker. And he can maintain your house.
There you go. So my first is Mo. Second is Groundskeeper Willie. My third, I think I gotta go, you know what? I'm gonna go with Bart. Bart? Just stick with the classic, you know?
You know what? Bart was actually one I considered myself because I thought he would be kind of funny to be around, because I enjoy kids like that. You know, like, I don't think Bart is necessarily a failure or a loser. I think he's just a kid who hasn't figured out where his purpose is yet.
Yeah, that's the thing. People sleep on Bart. I honestly think Bart is just as smart as Lisa, but I'm also someone who believes that there are lots of different kinds of intelligence. And Bart is creatively intelligent. And
usually the kids
Lisa is book smart.
Even in the kids that people sleep on and ignore and usually neglect are usually the most intelligent and strong children.
Right.
That you could possibly meet. Now, I marked out a couple because we had like a long list here and they were too similar.
Yeah.
So we did The Simpsons. So it's my turn to read this next one?
Well, let's read. So so I picked Mo, Groundskeeper Willie, and Bart Simpson. Who did you pick?
I chose Lisa, Marge, and Otto.
Okay, all right. So round 4.
Okay, the next one we have on the list is South Park, which another show of an abundance of an amazing cast. Now, since I read the theme, Charles, you pick your first characters, like your 3 of South Park. Okay.
I am gonna pick. First of all, I gotta go with Randy Marsh.
Oh, that is.
I gotta go with Randy.
You have major balls to want to be under a lockdown with Randy fucking Marsh.
Because Randy's crazy.
He is a psychopath.
But
dude.
The thing is,
But
here's the thing: Randy is one of the most resourceful characters in the show. He'll build a business from nothing overnight if he felt like it. Plus, he can cook really well because he got addicted to his whole cream freeze phase.
The thing is, though, he can run a business, but he's also a mess, so he fucks it up.
But unless it's Tegrity Farms.
Even then, he kind of fucked up with that.
No.
With his family.
His family is where he fell off, but the business was fine.
He was even Lord like that.
Yeah. So look at it. You got a businessman, an excellent singer. He was Lord, and he can cook.
So who are you picking for your other 2?
So my second one, I'm gonna have to go with Mr. Slave, because Mr. Slave. First of all, Mr. Slave, there's only like 3 decent people in all of South Park, and Mr. Slave is one of them. So, Mr. Slave...
It's like Mr. Slave, Wendy Testerberger, and like another person.
And Butters, that's it.
Butters.
That's it. Maybe Stan's mom, depending on the season. But that's it.
She's about ready to snap, though.
Right. So, I will go with Mr. Slave, because Mr. Slave, he's a cool dude. He has a lot... Again, you need the entertainment factor. He's going to have lots of stories of being just the most... interesting sexual deviant in Colorado. That I gotta go with him.
And then your third.
My third one. Okay, so who did I say? I said Randy Marsh and Mr. Slave. I think my third one. I would say Wendy, but she doesn't have much to offer in terms of resources outside of potential to be great. Who's bringing to the table? I think I'm gonna go with Jimbo.
Because he can hunt and all that other stuff.
Yeah. And also, technically, you get a 4th because Jimbo's the package deal.
Oh, yeah. Well, didn't, what's his name die, though?
Oh, yeah, he did die. Well, I still get Jimbo.
I liked him, though.
Yeah.
Okay, so my 3, I already know exactly who I would be. It would be Mr. Slave.
Okay.
Kenny.
And Kenny's, because he can't die.
Well, no, not even just that. And Wendy Testerberger.
Why Wendy?
You want to know about why Wendy first?
Yeah.
I in a lot of ways can relate to Wendy's anger about how the world is.
Okay.
And she and I care about a lot of the same stuff. And because she's a child, I feel like she and I could teach each other a lot of things. She has all that energy that I don't really have anymore. Mm-hmm. And I have a lot of life experience to tell her what is and isn't really realistic. And we'd have a lot of really lovely conversations and debates. And I would love to encourage her growth as a person because I think she's going to be amazing. See, I know you didn't want her because she only has potential, but I'd like to help that potential grow.
And you would have spent the quarantine?
And I would have spent a quarantine helping Wendy grow into the best woman she could be because she doesn't have a lot of good influence in South Park.
Okay, that's fair.
Now, Mr. Slave, I chose him because he's, again, one of the only decent people in South Park, and he also has a very good relationship with Wendy.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Wendy and Mr. Slave.
Stupid Spoiled Whore episode, he guided her out of being a whore just for the sake of commodity.
Right. And then guided Paris Hilton right up his ass.
Kenny, I chose because Kenny is funny. I think if he had parents or an adult in this situation that would be kind and give him a proper meal every day, and he was away from his toxic little friends, he could probably thrive a great deal. I almost chose Butters over Kenny.
Yeah.
But...
Butters would freak out.
No, I would scare Butters.
Yeah.
And Mr. Slave would scare Butters. Butters would just freak the fuck out and lock himself in the room and sing, Lou, 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 I've got some apples. Lou, 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 you got some too. So I would choose Kenny. And plus, like, I'm also a responsible adult, and so is Mr. Slave. So we can keep Kenny from cheesing or doing any kind of reckless behavior.
True.
Because I'm a responsible enough adult that I'd want to take the 2 best kids from South Park and have them in quarantine with me to make sure they were in a proper care.
Right. Okay. So
we're done with that one.
Next round.
This one next.
Grace and Frankie.
Yeah.
All right. For those of y'all who don't know, Grace and Frankie is a series on Netflix.
Starring Lily Tomlin and Jane Fonda.
Yeah.
So like I said, like this episode's gonna have spoilers in it about different shows. So if you haven't seen the show, just kind of skip over this part. So Grace and Frankie, I would definitely it's my turn to go first, right?
Yeah, because I titled I titled it off. I titled the round.
I would definitely choose Frankie because Frankie is basically me at 70, but like I'm like less annoying. Okay. Like, because Frankie can kind of like take it too far.
Frankie is an incredibly selfish person. That's the part that annoys me. Everything else about her is fine.
Yeah, and everything about her, like, I have a lot of the good common traits with her. I like garden, and plus Frankie's like me. She gardens, she makes home remedies, she makes loops, so like that would be very useful. We could just smoke weed, and she likes to talk at somebody. Yeah. And Grace wouldn't want to listen to her fucking talk that long. I could. She could talk to me about all sorts of crazy shit. I'd be totally fine with.
And she gonna talk to you about crazy shit too. And I'm okay with that. That's what she does. But that's fun.
It's okay. Like,
so I get that choice.
I'm totally copacetic with that. Okay. My other choice would be my second choice would be Joan. Joan. Remember the old British woman that used to work as Saul and Robert's secretary?
Joan.
The goofy little old lady that
she ended up developing dementia.
Did she?
Yeah.
No,
Alzheimer's.
No, I think you're thinking of Babe, who got cancer.
No. Joan was the one that they had to fire because she was there for so long.
No, she didn't have Alzheimer's. She was just getting older, and she was always kind of a little bit flaky. So
they didn't diagnose her or anything?
No, they just forced her to retire. They were just like, you're not doing so good at your job. Just go and...
Oh, okay.
I could be wrong. I don't recall that happening, but it's been a bit. I would pick her because I like her a lot. I think she's a little flighty, but she's funny, and I enjoy her companionship, and like her and Frankie are really good friends. Yeah. Now, the last one I would pick would be Babe before she died.
Oh, Babe.
I was torn because I almost chose Coyote, but Coyote has a dependency problem, and I want to drink and smoke under quarantine, and I don't want to have to worry about making sure someone who is addicted to those things wouldn't be under the temptation.
Could you just for a second explain to people who Babe was? Because she wasn't in that many episodes.
Babe was one of Grace and Frankie's long dear friends who really had a zeal and zest for life, probably the healthiest character on that show. Yeah. She had lived so many years. She had sex with artists and kept their paintbrushes. Like, she was so amazing.
She was truly a free spirit.
And she ended up getting sick. And she asked Frankie to help her with assisted suicide. And Frankie, after a while, reluctantly agreed. And they had a beautiful party, told no one. And she went into her room that night, took a pill or something, and I forgot exactly. They crushed up a pill inside some pudding or something, and she went right to sleep and died. And it was devastating, but honestly, I can also relate to that sentiment because I have a zeal and lust for life too, but if I'm in pain, I'm not living life. Right. And I want to go on my terms. Right. So a woman who has a zeal and lust for life totally is someone I can relate to. Right. And we'd have a lot of fun, the three of us, just me and these three older, quirky and interesting women under quarantine together.
I can see that. Okay.
So your choices.
So I'm going to have to go, I think I'll go with Grace. But after season 1.
Oh, when she chilled the fuck out a little bit.
When Grace chills out, she's one of the best characters on the show.
She's fun. She's really a lot of fun. I almost chose her too, and then I remembered Babe.
Next, I would pick Coyote.
Yeah. Because you live a sober life yourself. You're not by addiction, but by choice. You just never wanted to.
Right, and he's living a sober life right now.
Because he has an addiction. So you guys would get along and be able to keep him clean and safe during that time.
Then I would pick Brianna just so I could listen to her make fun of Coyote.
But I thought you said, Brianna before the later season, because you said like specifically you liked her season 1 through 3, and then she became and I totally agree.
Brianna, yes.
I no longer find her bitchiness charming because it kind of got like too far. Yeah. So okay, so
next round.
The next one we have is a wonderful Hulu show starring Frank Azaria called Brockmire. It is Charlie's, I think, favorite show right now.
It's probably one of my favorite. It's definitely my favorite Hulu show right now.
And if you haven't seen it, I highly recommend you check it out. Now, it's a show about a guy who was a baseball announcer.
He still is.
Well, a big league one. And then he had a nervous breakdown because his wife had...
Well, let me explain. Basically, he and this, you can see this in the first episode, the first 5 minutes of the first episode.
This is basically the gist of it.
So Brockmire was a baseball announcer who came into his house one day, one evening after one of his games, and found his wife cheating on him in the form of doing BDSM sex acts with a strap on their neighbor.
I mean, if she was...
And also, it was an orgy. That just happened to be what she was doing in the orgy.
And here's the thing. Not for nothing, if you aren't married and or if you're in an open relationship, that's all well and good. Get it, girl. Have all the fun you want. But she was cheating and doing it in a very dishonorable and rude way.
Yeah, she refers to herself as omnisexual, and essentially she figured it out in a very inconvenient time for Brockmire.
And that's unfortunate because a lot of middle-aged women, a lot of women get married in their 20s, and then by 40 they start going through a sexual awakening that can really fuck shit up. The same time around a guy has a midlife crisis.
Right. Now, okay, so you titled the round. I picked mine 3 first.
Yes, you pick your 3.
Okay, my quarantine for Crockmire. Oh my God,
Crockmire.
My quarantine for Brockmire. This is easy. Brockmire, Charles, and Uribe.
That's exactly my team. That's exactly. So give me I already had it planned. I was like, oh, this is gonna be great. I'm gonna pick Uribe, Charles, and Brockmire. It's gonna be so different. Wait, what the fuck, bro? So why do you pick them? It's probably the same fucking reason.
Okay, well, Brockmire is Brockmire. Okay, he's out of his mind.
He's funny.
He's incredibly funny. He has so many stories.
But his depressions are dark, so if he had a depression attack, he would just go to his room and leave you the fuck alone.
Or he would just vanish and then come back completely unscathed.
He'd come back from some other place. If you were on quarantine, he couldn't leave. So basically, he would either go to his room and do cocaine for 4 days, or he would just have a meltdown, cry, and piss himself or something.
Well, this is part of the reason why I have Uribe, because Brockmire and Uribe, they're binging buddies.
They do. They go on benders together.
Right. Now, here's the thing. The only risk with that is Brockmire and Uribe like to have orgies a lot. And they would be like a revolving door of
no, but keep in
women.
mind, quarantine, you cannot let people in or out. It's only you 3. So they would most likely probably just be fucking each other, which is fine.
Well, they're not well, I don't know about Uribe, but
let's just
they're not bisexual.
But the thing is, I think those two are just so flexible that under the right circumstances, they wouldn't give a shit. And Charles is the level-headed one.
Yeah, well, that's the greatest irony. There's a character on the show also named Charles,
who is a black kid,
smart black kid,
and smart.
Weirdly similar to me in a lot of ways, which I would like hanging out with him because he's not into the same stuff that I'm into. Actually, yeah, he is. He's into podcasting and wow, okay.
And he hangs out with a manic, depressive person who chain smokes and swears a lot.
You are kind of like my Brockmire, aren't you, Lindsay? A little bit.
I want that jacket. The thing is, I don't lose control with my benders or anything. I only smoke weed, do shrooms every 2 to 5 years, and I drink occasionally.
Right.
I'm a pretty responsible adult. But the thing is,
But like Brockmire, you have hilarious stories too.
I have these weird stories. I'm like, yo, so let me tell you about the time I got stabbed once, and people are just like, what the fuck? And I'm like, what? It's fine. And I'm very casual about the fucked up shit that happened to me, but I'm also deeply sensitive enough to have a nervous breakdown and flip out at people if I have to. I'm moody.
Now, those are my reasons. What would be your reasons for picking those same people?
The thing is, it's essentially the same. Charles is so much like you that I know I would get along with him. He's perfectly fine, and he's smart, and I like smart people.
Okay.
Brockmire is fun. Even when he's crazy, I could handle someone who has meltdowns and nervous breakdowns because I'm used to people who have mental health issues. I have friends and shit, and people I love who have needed me in very sudden crisis situations that I wasn't prepared to handle, but I did.
Right.
Uribe would be fun. I wouldn't do coke or anything with him. I'd probably smoke weed with those two. And Uribe and I would just be able to talk about shit. And, he seems like a respectful enough guy that if he tried to fuck me, I'd be like, go over there.
You could talk about his 13 or so children.
And how he likes to fuck raw.
Yeah. Right. You talk about that.
Let's go to the next one. I can't believe we picked the same ones that time. So, the next one, Charles.
All right. My turn to title around. The next one is Daria.
Oh, and that's another one we love in the Cork and Grant household is Daria.
An older show from the early 2000s and late 90s, MTV.
I thought it was early 90s, like mid-90s, like 97.
Actually, I think you're right. I think that show went on for a very long time.
It was on for several seasons, but yeah, it's a 90s show. And it's, you know...
An old cartoon from the MTV animated cartoon
It spun
era.
off from Beavis and Butthead, made by the genius Mike Judge.
Oh, Mike Judge.
We can do a whole episode about him at some point, I'm sure.
Yes, we can. And will. Mike.
So if you haven't seen Daria, again, like the rest of these shows, this one's on Hulu. Check it out. I highly recommend it, especially if you are a 90s kid who was just a little too little to appreciate the show when you were a kid or be allowed to watch it.
By the way, for those who don't know, Mike Judge did Daria, Beavis and Butthead, and King of the Hill.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So that being said, pick your 3 from Daria.
Okay. I would pick Daria.
Okay.
Because I love her. And she's so much more like calm and like chill than I am as far as how she is, so it would be a nice balance.
Okay.
I would definitely pick Jane.
Okay.
Because I love Jane as well.
Jane Lane is great.
I relate more to her.
Yeah.
I appreciate her sarcasm, and I like the two of them as a dynamic together. I like the fact that I could sit with the two of them and watch Liquid Television and make fun of people.
Yeah. Sick Sad World.
Yeah, I would have such a fun time with those two that it would be like easy to pass the quarantine because you could have intelligent conversations with them and it would be all sorts of things.
Right, right.
I was struggling for a second for the third character. I decided to pick Helen Morgendorffer.
Helen Morgendorffer?
Let me explain why. Daria and Jane are obvious. Here's the thing. Okay. I could pick Trent because all he does is sleep till noon, but he's no use to me.
Right.
Helen, she's a bit intense, but she's just enough of a bitch that if I needed a hard ass on my team, she's there. And she's an older adult, so I don't have to be responsible for everybody.
I see your point. Okay.
I could just like check out because Helen is a bossy alpha female.
Right.
And I'm an alpha person, but I'm not so alpha that I have to always be in charge. Yeah. So if I were in a house and she'd be like, okay, we're going to keep the dishes in here, I'd be like, cool, you plan that shit. I'm going to go in here.
Okay.
Okay,
So my pick, first of all, it definitely wouldn't be Daria's father because he's the proto-Jerry.
Oh, God, I hate her dad.
Yeah.
He is totally proto-Jerry from Rick and Morty.
He definitely is. So not him, but I picked Daria because Daria's cool people.
She's one of the few show like leads that are actually amazing.
I'd probably go with Trent because in this day and age, Trent would have a PlayStation 4.
He probably would have a successful
band. If I couldn't bring mine, he would bring his.
And you don't mind a dude that sleeps till noon, and
yeah, I don't, cause I'm right there with him sleeping.
But you don't go to bed till 6 a.m.
That's true.
I don't think Trent does either. Actually, I think you guys would be on the same sleep. Hey, that wouldn't bother you.
Yeah, cause I'm always up working well into the early morning hours.
And see, for me, I would feel like I would have to mother him and be like, Trent, get out of bed, do something useful,
Yeah, right. Okay.
Do some dishes, you sack of shit.
So, 1 and 2 is Daria and Trent. My 3 would be
Not Jane?
No. I love Jane Lane. I do.
I'm surprised you wouldn't pick her because I thought you guys would get along great because you're both artists,
What's the name of that teacher? The crazy teacher?
Why would
with the eye?
Why would you pick him?
Because he crazy.
I noticed something about you. You really like crazy people to a point where you need to have one in your house sometimes.
Here's the thing. We talk about quarantine, right?
Yeah.
In a survivalist situation, sometimes you need just a little bit of crazy to be able to get through certain moments. Because, everybody in the world has lived through this pandemic. And I'm sure that some of the people listening know somebody or are somebody who was just a tad off, and they found this quarantine
that dude is
not so
a tad
bad.
Off, though.
He's very off, but that's why he's doing runs. That's the whole point. I'm sending him out to do runs.
I actually almost chose the hippie teacher from Beavis and Butthead that was technically attached to Daria.
Oh, yeah.
But I would rather have Helen because she's more intense.
Right. Okay.
Okay, so our next one, it's kind of funny because we're listing off ones that the other one likes a little bit more, which is kind of fun.
And this is a good one.
This one is a family favorite, Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Now,
This
fucking show made our relationship stronger.
It really did.
So thank you to the creators of Always Sunny.
Rob McElhenney. Yeah, Rob McElhenney,
Glenn Howerton, Caitlin Olsen, and Charlie
Day and Danny DeVito. I
almost said Charlie Kelly.
Yeah, Charlie Day and Danny DeVito. Thank you guys so much.
Again, if you
for choosing to continue the show,
lives
resurrected after multiple cancellations. and all of that. Anyway, so
you're just wonderful. We love you.
So you titled the round. That means I picked the characters.
Yes, you pick your
right?
3.
So
yes.
my quarantine from Always Sunny. First of all, Doyle McPoyle.
You're gonna pick a McPoyle? You really like crazy.
Look, the McPoyles are the
But he has Royal. Aren't you worried about that bird?
No. Happy
sorry.
McPoyle
Happy,
had Royal.
I'm sorry.
So I won't lose an eye.
So wait, you want one of the...
Doyle is the one
you want one of the... you want the one that try to do the football thing.
Yeah, the one who did the football. Not Ryan McPoyle. No, not one of the main 2 brothers.
No.
One
I
of
know.
the side
No, I know.
cousins.
Doyle was the one that was auditioning. They went...
Yeah,
Now,
Doyle.
here's the thing. I'm surprised if you picked a McPoyle, you didn't pick Margaret.
Nah, not Margaret. I like Margaret, but
she's
no.
the only McPoyle I really like because she's so funny.
Yeah, but the unfortunate thing about Margaret is she's a deaf mute.
So why are you picking a McPoyle? I have to know.
Again, you want just a little bit of controlled crazy. And also, if you look
Is it controlled, though?
Doyle is probably the most stable McPoyle there is.
But they're all, like, so inbred and crazy. Like,
right, and he happened to deal with those genetics the best out of all of them in that family. It's either him or Rickety Cricket, but Cricket is too crazy. Cricket will stab me.
But what? Not Matthew Mara.
Yeah, right.
He's a Catholic priest, but like you had a priest, I think, with that same like similar last name, didn't you? That you got along with.
No, you talking about Father Sean.
Father Sean. Okay, I was thinking about somebody else.
And Father Sean was great. He's not a priest anymore.
Father Mara was at my school. That's what.
Yeah,
that
you
was.
had a Father Mara. Okay, so Doyle McPoyle is the first one. Second one, gotta go with Charlie Kelly.
Obviously.
And I'm gonna tell you why. Charlie Kelly already lives his entire life like he's in a global quarantine. He knows exactly what to do.
And he doesn't give a fuck. And he'll and if you run out of food, he'll eat cat food.
Yeah, he'll do it. He'll do it. He'll do it.
Fun.
He'll do it. He does not care.
Okay, third
one, I gotta go with oh god. Oh, and we're running out of time. Pressure. So much pressure. Okay. First one is Doyle. Second one is Charlie. Third one, gotta go with Ben the Soldier.
He was sweet.
He was a sweet dude.
I really liked
brilliant
him.
at computers.
Who was the guy that was the rapper that Dee dated too? I really liked him too. The Lil T or Lil Kev? No, yeah.
I think it was Lil Kev.
Oh, I liked him.
Yeah, he was great.
He was so... She always dates these, like, really amazing guys and just fucks with them so bad. Like, look at how Matthew Mara turned into Rickety Cricket. It was all because of Dee.
Oh, my God. Yeah, that whole thing was Dee's fault.
That's a whole thing. That woman ruined.
That whole thing was Dee's fault.
And it gets revealed that Dee is, like, so much worse than even Dennis. But, okay, so my 3, I already know.
Okay.
Artemis. Because Artemis...
Oh, my God, yeah.
Artemis is my baby girl.
But that's
not my cat, but the character from Always Sunny.
Yeah.
Because she, again, that reminds me of Conchetta. But also, Artemis and I have a lot in common. We're both the most functional people in that room.
Right.
She's artsy, she's funny, but she's also a little bit of a deviant, and I like people who are a little bit, of a deviant and kind of fun. And with that, I would have Frank there so they can just have their deviant sex and put, Cobb salad ingredients in Artemis's hair if they want to.
I felt like a Cobb salad. It was amazing.
I put bacon bits in my hair. And I mean, the worst you have to deal with those two is the fact that, like, some food might go missing. Right. But if you keep your food on a regular order, you're good.
I mean, you run with a risk because she might end up having sex with your food instead of eating it.
As long as she, like, throws it out afterwards and I don't have to eat it and they tell me, I'm okay with that.
That's fair.
I would be like, I know you guys do some crazy shit. Just make sure it doesn't affect everyone else in the house.
Okay. 2 and 3.
Okay. Obviously, my last one will be Charlie Kelly.
Well, that's your 2? Because you only picked 1.
Artemis and Frank. I said both.
Oh, you said Artemis and Frank.
I want Frank Reynolds in my house.
Okay.
Because that's the crazy thing. That's the crazy I like. That's the crazy and I think he and Artemis can balance each other out and keep each other busy and occupied, and they'll have somebody to have sex with and be busy.
That's true.
And then also when he's fucking Artemis, he's great. When he's hanging out with the gang, he's shit. Frank is great with Charlie and Artemis. The rest of it he's shit with, so
that's true. Okay, so it's Artemis, Frank, and Charlie Day. Yeah,
and then finally Charlie could have his own bed if he slept with Artemis.
That makes sense.
And then Charlie Kelly, he's sweet. He's chill. He's, he doesn't understand a lot about life, and I'm a very nurturing person, so I would, like, make sure he ate actual food and he was taken care of and actually learned how he could take care of himself.
Right.
And made sure he bathed regularly. I'd be like, go take a shower.
Artemis, Frank Reynolds, and Charlie Kelly. Those are good choices. Okay.
Let's skip the next one because it's too elaborate. And that one.
What was the next one? Oh, yeah, okay.
So
all right.
So let's just do this one, King of Queens.
King of Queens? There's like 5 characters in that whole show.
So pick 3.
All right, fine. Well, I gotta go.
There's more than 5, but
I gotta go with Carrie's dad.
Arthur.
Yeah, love me some
again,
Arthur.
that's that controlled crazy you were talking about. But you have to keep in mind he cannot have a hot plate or be unattended, so you're going to have to constantly watch him because he has set the house on fire.
I'll tell you what, I'll set him up with a microwave.
You would just make sure he was in a place you can keep an eye on him.
There you go. That's it.
I mean, you keep an eye on your own dad, so it's not like that much different.
Right, and my dad's
He's not much different like
my dad
Arthur.
is like the Black Arthur from King of Queens, so
he's a little chaotic and crazy and likes hoes. I mean, that's like
it's not going to be a lot of it. It's not going to be a big adjustment for me. Okay, next, I got to go with Spencer, who's played by the adorable and fantastic Patton Oswalt.
Patton.
Love me some Patton. He's the only man that looked like a toddler all the time.
He's like way older than me, and I'm just like, look the baby.
Yeah. And that's what I'm gonna do to him when I meet him. That's what I'm gonna do. I don't care where we at. We could be on a red carpet. I'm holding him down and pinching his cheeks. That's just gonna happen. Now my third person, Doug.
Absolutely, Doug is great.
Doug Heffernan's good.
I wouldn't want to live with Carrie. She's kind of a bitch.
Yeah.
And Doug, if he's allowed to just do whatever he wants, he's cool. Like he will just chill and play his guitar and eat pizza. Like
now, we got 5 minutes left. Why don't you pick your 3 and we'll wrap?
Okay, I pick Doug because he's great. I also Artemis is like, time's up. Hello. I pick Doug. I pick Patton Oswalt's character. Can't think of his name right now.
Spencer.
I pick Spencer.
Yeah.
And I picked Deacon, which is surprising.
Deacon.
Let me explain why. Because when Deacon is divorced from that abusive bitch he's married to, he goes through a lot of like emotional shit. But I think if he's in a healthy environment with his 2 best friends and someone who doesn't give a fuck what he does, he'd be a perfectly chill and helpful person. He seems like the kind of guy that you could be like, hey, Deacon, I'm going to order everyone chicken wings. Would you go wash the dishes? And he'd say yes.
Huh.
Just a chill guy. He seems like a guy that would have been a good husband if he wasn't abused or a good person to be around.
I can see your point.
We should definitely do a part 2 of this with like movies or something too, because this is really like a lot of fun. I hope everyone had a fun time listening too.
Yeah, if you guys enjoyed the game Quaranteams and you'd like to hear another set of rounds,
or even different games, because we are willing to play things like Smash or Pass.
Yeah.
You know, anything that we can play on audio, we are so willing to participate in. So if you have any ideas or comments, let us know.
And we also have a habit of making up these games. If we come up with a game,
we'll share it with you.
We'll share it with you guys. Now, real quick, I just want to recap for people who want to play this game. How the game works. Is that cool? Can we do that?
Yeah, go ahead, baby.
Okay, so this is how the game works. We call it Quaranteams.
Yeah.
The way it works is if you choose to, you can pick a location. First of all, you pick a theme, like TV shows, video
movies,
games,
books, whatever.
anything like that. Then you pick an intellectual property from that theme.
So if it's books, you can pick Harry Potter, Twilight, things like that. Movies, you can pick like Fight Club, whatever.
If it's video games, you can pick God of War, Katamari Damacy, whatever you want.
Mortal Kombat,
right? You pick so you pick your theme, you pick your IP, your IP. Then, if you want, you can pick your location, because as we all know in this global pandemic, that actually does kind of matter. But if you don't have to. That's an optional thing.
Then you pick the number of people, because we chose 3, but you can pick up to 5 or however many you want. Like you can limit to however many.
Yeah, pick your team roster, the number. Then you pick your team. You pick characters from that show. That's how it works.
Then you explain why. Because that helps you psychologically and intimately get to know the people you're playing with.
And the way I see it is it works a lot like Cards Against Humanity. By the end of it, if you want to pick a winner, just judge it by the person who picked the funniest reasons and team members.
Yeah, and I mean, it's really not a win or lose game. It's just sort of a fun...
It's more of a bonding game than a competitive one.
And it's, if you're a couple that, like, wants to do something other than like sexual games like Sexy Dice and stuff, if you want to intimately know them on an emotional level without like ending up in fights or something, this is a good way to do it.
Speaking of which, if anybody wants us to play Quaranteams with them, just a little bit of it on Facebook or something like that, we'll do that. Or if you want to send in a theme and a set of characters, please send that in.
Yeah, or if like you want to like do a special thing where we do it on Facebook Live or something where you can see us doing it, we're happy to do that as well.
As soon as we figure out how that works, we would definitely love to do that.
We're doing this podcast, and we would love to hear more from what you guys want from us. We're very new at this, so we're open to a lot of options.
That being said, we can be found where, Lindsay?
We can be found at Jug O Sip Podcast on Facebook and on Spotify and on YouTube right now, and we're working on getting other social media set up. I'm going to be completely honest, it doesn't take that long. I have just been incredibly lazy, and I'm afraid to log out on my other stuff because I don't remember my logins.
Fair assessment. All right. Well, it's about to be an hour and a minute. Let's just say our goodbyes now.
Okay, any closing statements?
Normally we do final remarks.
Yeah, but like normally we talk about like emotional. Okay, here's a good final remark.
Okay.
This tells you a lot about a person, this game we played. And, you know, I enjoy the fact that I get to know Charlie on a deeper level and he gets to know me. And, you know, if we, you know, normally we have like a psychological or emotional message to this. So basically my message would be, if I had to wrap it up to something that had a good message, would be take the time to get to know your partners or your friends and find fun ways to do it. And especially if you're going through a tough time with your husband or wife or partner, you know, maybe this might be a good way to get to know each other and bond a little closer during maybe a time where you're fighting a lot or whatever.
Okay, my final remarks. In the last couple weeks of this quarantine, as we come out of it and things start to reopen, stay safe and stay positive, and if you can, stay productive. And if you don't have a project like, you know, a podcast to do or anything like that, just find a way to keep yourself in a good place. Sometimes playing a game with your friends or even over the phone is all you need.
Sometimes even just being awake and showering is still productivity. Don't feel bad if the quarantine didn't like let you have the time to learn a new language or something. We're going through a collective trauma. It's scary. Don't worry about not getting things done, but just try to be productive as you can and try to be as creative as you can to have fun and try to keep yourself in as good place as much as possible.
Or just listen to a podcast like Jug O Sip Podcast.
On YouTube or Spotify at Jug O Sip Podcast.
Shameless plug. All right.
It's not shameless. It's our channel. I can say what I want.
Well, there you go. Okay. That being said, see you in the next one.
All right. Love you guys. Bye.